I spoke to Moses from the fire. I need you to hear this story all the way to the end. But first, if you found this, it wasn't by accident. Subscribe. I have been waiting to speak to you. He had been in the desert for 40 years before I spoke to him. I want you to understand what 40 years feels like from the inside. Moses had been a prince of Egypt, raised in a palace, educated in the most advanced civilization of his age, trained for leadership. He had seen the suffering of his people, the Hebrews, and one day that suffering became unbearable to him, and he acted, and everything fell apart, and he ran. He ran from Egypt to Midian, and there he became a shepherd. A keeper of someone else's flocks on someone else's land. He married, he had children, and 40 years passed. I watched all of it. I watched the man who had grown up in palaces kneel down beside a desert spring and drink from it like everyone else. I watched the fire go out of him, not completely, that fire was always mine and I would need it again, but I watched the urgency drain away over those decades and become something quieter. Something patient, something that had given up on certain versions of the future. I chose that moment to speak. Not the moment when he was at the height of his Egyptian power. Not the moment when he was angry and certain and ready to act. I chose the moment when he had nothing left to prove and nowhere left to go. The moment when he was 80 years old and tending someone else's sheep on the backside of a mountain in the middle of a desert. That is the kind of timing that surprises people. It should not surprise you. I almost always work like that. The bush was burning, and it was not being consumed. And Moses turned aside to see. That phrase, he turned aside, it is small in the text but it is enormous in meaning. He could have kept walking. A burning bush in a dry desert was not unprecedented. He could have noted it, filed it away, moved on. But something made him stop. Something made him turn. That something was me. When you feel that pull, that inexplicable sense that you need to stop and pay attention, that something ordinary has become unexpectedly significant, do not dismiss it. That is often how I begin. Moses turned aside, and then I called his name. Moses, Moses, 2 times. The repetition is an intimacy in Hebrew. The same way a parent says a child's name when they need the child to truly hear them, not just hear the sound. I was not announcing myself. I was reaching for him. Personally, he answered, "Here I am." 3 words in English, 1 word in Hebrew, Hineni. It is the word Abraham said when God called him to the mountain. It is the word Samuel said in the middle of the night when he heard his name. It is the word Isaiah said in the throne room when God asked who would go. Hineni, here I am, not just present, but available, willing, whatever this is, I am in it. Moses said it before he knew what he was saying yes to. That is usually how it works. What I am about to tell you is the part of the story most people carry past. Share this video before we get there, because someone you know needs to hear what Moses heard next. I told him to take off his sandals. The ground he was standing on was holy. Not because there was something special about that particular patch of Midianite desert, but because I was there. Holiness is not a property of locations. It is the presence of the one who is holy other. When I am present, the ground becomes holy because I am on it. That truth extends further than a burning bush on a mountainside. Think carefully about where you are standing right now. Then I told him who I was. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. I said it that way deliberately. Not just God, not the supreme being or the creator of the universe, though I am those things too. I am the God of specific people, of your father, of names, of a lineage you belong to. I wanted Moses to understand that this conversation was not the beginning of a relationship. It was the continuation of one that had been going on for centuries before he was born. Your connection to me is never starting from nothing. There is always a history, always a thread. Then I told him what I had seen. I have surely seen the affliction of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cry. I know their sufferings. 3 verbs: seen, heard, known. 400 years the Hebrews had been in Egypt. 400 years of slavery that by any human reckoning had been endured in silence with no divine response. I want to address that silence directly because Moses certainly felt it and because you may have felt something like it in your own life. I was not absent during those 400 years. I was not indifferent. I was not unaware. I had seen every brick laid under threat. I had heard every cry in the dark. I had known every name of every person who had suffered and died without seeing the promise. Seen, heard, known, and now I was moving. The timing of God does not match human timelines. I know that is a hard truth. It was hard for every generation of Hebrew slaves who died before the Exodus happened. It is hard for you in whatever you are waiting for right now. I am not offering you a comfortable answer, because a comfortable answer would not be an honest one. What I am telling you is this: seen, heard, known is still true. It did not expire in the desert with Moses. It did not end when the last page of the canon was written. It is the eternal posture of the Father toward every person who has ever suffered without apparent response. The response is coming. My timing is not your timing. But I am not absent. Then I gave Moses the assignment. Go, I am sending you to Pharaoh. Bring my people out of Egypt. And Moses said, Who am I? Not who are you? Who am I? The man who 40 years earlier had been certain enough of his own identity to kill an Egyptian guard, now could not answer the most basic question about himself. And I understand that. 40 years in a desert will do that to a person. Failure will do that. Starting over will do that. Looking in the mirror at 80 and seeing the distance between who you were going to be and who you became. Who am I? I told him. I will be with you. That is the whole answer. Not a resume I handed him. Not a list of qualifications he would develop. Not a reassurance about his natural gifts. I will be with you. The assignment was not based on what Moses was. It was based on who was going with him. That is always how it works. Then Moses asked something no one had ever asked me before. He said, When the people ask me who sent me, what do I tell them? What is your name? And I gave him the answer that I had never given in that form to anyone before. I-am Whoiam. Ihya Asher Ihya. Tell them I am sent you. This is the ground of everything. Not I was. Not I will be. I am. Present. Active. Uncontained by time. Not a God of the past who once did things. Not a God of the future who might do things. The God who simply, perpetually, eternally, is. And John records that centuries later, when the Pharisees pressed me on my identity, I said it plainly. Before Abraham was, I am. The same name, the same presence, the burning bush and the rabbi in Jerusalem, the same voice, the same fire, the same I am refusing to be located in a tense that limits me. Moses went back to Egypt. He was 80 years old, had a speech impediment he was embarrassed by, and was carrying a wooden shepherd's staff instead of an army. And he stood in front of the most powerful ruler in the world and said, I am sent me. And Pharaoh never stood a chance. Not because of Moses, because of who was with Moses. That distinction matters for your life in exactly the same way it mattered for his. You are not going to change things around you because of your qualifications. You are not going to break the chains that have held your family for generations because of your intelligence or your willpower or your education. I am not diminishing those things. I gave them to you. But they are not the source. The source is who is going with you. IAM is still sending people. IAM is still standing in burning bushes, in ordinary moments, in small inexplicable pauses in the day, in the feeling that you need to turn aside and pay attention to something, calling names and asking for the three-word answer. Here I am. If you have been in your own desert, if the 40 years have been passing and the fire you had once has gone quiet and the version of yourself you thought you were going to become seems like someone else's story now, I am still here. I have not forgotten your name. I have not moved on to someone more promising. I am the God of your fathers, and of you. I have seen your affliction. I have heard your cry. I know your suffering, and I am getting ready to move. Subscribe to this channel and come back next week. The story is far from over. Father, for everyone listening who has been in a desert season, who has felt the silence and wondered if you had forgotten them, let this land like water on dry ground. Let the truth that you see, hear, and know become more real to them than the silence has been. And if there is someone here you are calling, who has heard their name and does not know yet that they are saying yes, let them say it. Hineni, Here I am, whatever this is, I am in it. In my name, amen.